This is the American Dream, Dustin Rhodes, son of a plumber, daddy, and you're listening to the Bob Culture Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a very special episode of the BCP. And guys, I know, I always say this. The last couple episodes, I've been saying this a lot, but this is long overdue. I saw this guy over 2 years ago for the first time. He should have been here sooner, but right now, ahead of Smiley's Wild Ride, February 26th, presented by Pro Wrestling Magic. Tickets are still available in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. I'll be there doing all the backstage interviews, shameless promo. Please welcome him to the show. He is a former House of Glory World Champion, a former GCW Extreme Champion, a former Pro Wrestling Magic Champion. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And a former Standalone Wrestling Light Heavyweight Champion. Please welcome in our good friend Smiley. Smiley, welcome in, bro. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Thank you for having me.
Dude, no, thank you for making the time, man. I know you've been very busy. You've probably done a million podcasts, but this was meant to be, dude. I remember seeing you, I think for the first time at Kid Carter's birthday bash, which I think was 3 Novembers ago, almost 2.5 years ago, something like that, man. Dude, always a show stealer. Every time I see you, man, I came into the business, obviously, as a fan. Seeing Rey Mysterio jump around the ring, for me, that's what brought me into it. I was never into like the big Haas fights and didn't really understand it until now. Obviously, I have more respect for that. But your innovation, it's not just the high flying stuff. Like it is, that's what I pop for, but it's always different. There's always an extra corkscrew. There's a bounce off the bottom rope. I got to see you warm up, pulling back the curtain a little bit with Rocket at Titan. And that was one of the coolest things to see, was you two working together, just warming up that triple threat with you two and Nikos Rico, shameless promo, Mob 5 TV. Check that out. Was fantastic, man. I saw you doing some crazy stuff that I don't know if you busted out in matches quite yet, man. What is your philosophy, man? I'm a huge fan.
I mean, I always try to keep it different and new. Growing up, like once I kind of got into wrestling, my big inspirations really was people like the Amazing Red, who I've had the privilege of training under. People like Nova from ECW or Chris Canyon in WCW. And people like those who, like, every time you would watch a match, there's something new. It's not the cookie cutter 5 moves of doom that you see every time. You know, of course, you got your bread and butter, you got your go-tos, but I like to bring something new and something different every time I'm in the ring, because to me, that's what keeps it fresh and exciting and, you know, entertaining. You know, there's only so many times you can see, you know, 5 knuckle shuffle into FU and stuff like that. You know, as much as, granted, what am I talking about? He's out there making a whole lot more money than I am.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of breaking the mold a little bit, going against the grain. I always like that. Like, to me, that really stands out, man. I remember, I think it was at NFW at H2. I remember seeing you do, I think it might've been for the first time, and I've seen you bust this out more often, that I like. It's almost like a bottom or mid rope springboard splash with a corkscrew, which is really good. I've never seen anyone do that before. That's really cool. And I can edit this out if you want me to, but I saw you doing some stuff with Rocket warming up where, and again, if you don't want me to give this away, I can totally edit this out, but it was something with like your head off the bottom rope or something. Like, you were just doing something really crazy, man. Do you just go for it? Is there fear involved? Is there adrenaline? Like, how does that work?
It's just kind of playing around, really. Like, there's no, you know, it's you take something that people love and make it different, you know, like the move you're talking about where I do like a sideways springboard into a corkscrew. Like, for me, everybody loves like Andrade, when he would run into the ropes and he'd hang onto the ropes and the person would come charging and then he'd drop down and the person would fly out the ring. It's like everyone got a kick out of that. So I took that and I added my own spin to it, literally. You know, so it's nice. Something along those lines where it's like, I'm going to take something you love, set it up so you expect the thing you love, but then I'm going to show you a whole new side of that nobody else is going to do. Even though Rocket did steal my little corkscrew from the middle rope. He did put his own little spin on it with a delay, which is admirable, but still.
Oh, okay.
Stole my damn shit.
Man, good kid though. He's got a bright future too.
He was a pleasure to work with. He's one of them guys, like, even before, I knew I was going to have to go punch him in the face in a couple hours.
Yeah.
But still, just seeing him backstage and talking and gelling, I was able to get like a good grasp of him, and I liked him, even though I knew I was going to have to punch him in the face in a couple hours.
Yeah.
But,
no. But seeing you guys warm, like, that was a treat, man. That was really good. And that match, guys, again, check it out on Mob Fight TV with Nikos Ricos. And you did win, I believe, that match. Did you have the match with Recon for the middleweight title or not yet?
I did not.
Okay.
Unfortunately, when it came close to, I wasn't able to get a COVID test in time.
Same.
I wasn't able to get to the show.
I missed that show too. Same reason. Yep. So hopefully you're still number one. We'll see how it plays out, man. I'd like to see you back at Titan. That would be amazing, man. But let's talk about Pro Wrestling Magic right now, okay? Because the show is literally named after you, man. That's got to be very, very cool. The new GM, Shane Fair, shout to him, doing a great job so far. Smiley's Wild Ride. When you saw this, man, what was your reaction?
I had no idea. Nobody told me until the last show was over, and then I went upstairs to see some of my guys from Hog that were there to help out, and I was talking to them. They're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. The next show's named after you," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I had no idea. So as soon as I found that out, I instantly started hitting up Shane with my demands, because if this is named after me, I got some demands. I want my boy Ray Raimundo. I want him on commentary.
Love Ray. That's my guy.
Just add him in. I don't care. I want my people on the show. I want some of my Hog boys on that show.
Oh, okay.
I wanted Trixie doing ring announcing. I wanted her to be. I want her to announce all the people with the same mentality as us over there, who are willing to do what it takes, bend the rules, and then Shane can keep announcing all the people that want to play by the rules and be nice guys. But I'm thinking battling ring announcers would be dope for the show. This is my show. I should get my demands.
Absolutely.
I also demanded that I get to kick Shane Fair in the nuts 5 times in a row, because he hasn't given me my title shot.
Hold on a second.
I'm pretty sure because he's general manager, he ain't gonna give me that request. I'm still owed a damn title shot. I should not have lost that damn title match.
Well, please don't hurt Shane. That's all I ask. I mean, do what you got to do. I stay out of the ring.
I got a bone to pick with Shane, and he's gonna learn. I should have crippled him when he stepped in the ring at that Rumble. I should have.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh, look, I stay out of that. I know my place. They lock me in a room downstairs, and I do the interviews. I stay out of the way. Shane's my guy. Smiley, obviously, I'm a fan, man. Please don't hurt my guy Shane. Do what you got to do, man. That's not my world, but. With all due respect, man, this is your show, and I believe the match, per Shane Fair, is going to be you and Elijah Eden taking on Bruno and a mystery opponent. That should be interesting. Versus Prolific versus Hispanos Unidos, and I believe that is for the title. It's not for number one contender. It is for the titles, I believe.
Yeah, it's for the belts, because MSP can't show up for a few months. So they had to give up the belts.
That's a fair decision.
I get stuck in a tag team title match when I should be owed my world title match.
Really? Okay.
Again,
okay.
When I lost the world title, Bruno cheated. He ripped my mask up. He cheated. When I beat Bruno, I beat him fair and square with a moonsault off the top rope. I didn't have to cheat. But somehow he got to keep the belt. Then he got a boo-boo. He had to go away for a little bit.
Right. Then Erica crowned, the heavyweight champion for Magic. Erica had her run. You never had a direct shot with Erica.
No, regardless of how much time I had to run in the ring and whoop her ass too.
I do remember that. That's right.
Where was my invite for that tournament for the title?
That was right after. That was like the second after she won it too. You jumped in. I'm trying to remember if that correct. It's that same night. Wow. Okay.
She has what rightfully belongs to me.
Okay, I'll call it down the middle. I mean, I'm wearing the BCP hat. I'm not wearing any company hats right now. I will on Saturday. I'll be wearing that Pro Wrestling Magic. you have a fair point. I mean, I'm not a fan of you jumping in and attacking Erica, but you did not get that number one contendership. I will speak with Shane. I don't have any pull, but we'll see how that plays out. But you do have a shot at those tag titles. Do you feel only that you should just be out of that match and be in the heavyweight title match? We see that fatal 4-way coming up. Or do you see this as an opportunity to maybe get both? Are you happy to be at least part of this match? Do you feel like it's a consolation prize?
Oh, I'll take all the belts.
Okay.
I'll take them tag belts, and then I'll still go after my world title, which is rightfully mine. And then maybe I'll even go after the light heavyweight title, and maybe I'll go for that too. I want them all.
Wow. You heard it here first, guys. Wow. I mean, obviously we listed your resume, and that was just some of the belts that you've held, man. So many. How long you been doing this for?
This year will make 9 years coming up. Really?
Good for you, man. That's awesome. Good for you. And I'm trying to stay away from the cliche stuff, but like, was it like, you mentioned Amazing Red, but it was like the Mysterio. I'm trying to think, like, did you come up watching as like a fan, or was it like the high flyers that stood out to you, or how did that kind of work?
What got me into it originally was the Legion of Doom.
Oh, so wow.
That one got me into it. So that one started at my great grandmother's house. Me and my brother running around like maniacs. And as we ran by the living room, my uncles were sitting down watching wrestling. And as we run by, here comes the Legion of Doom with spiked shoulder pads and face paint. And they were teaming with Ultimate Warrior against Demolition. Okay. So when you put a match like that together, any 6-year-old kid's got to stop and watch. So
that's awesome. That's very cool, man.
Yeah, I think I was about 6 or 7.
I gotcha.
Somewhere.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I don't want to like get cliche or anything, but obviously those guys weren't known for like the high flying stuff. Like, what made you gravitate? Was it just because you were trained that way, or you had an affinity for it? Like, why that direction?
I mean, my love for like the whole lucha style and everything like that, actually, it came not too long after learning about wrestling. Because once I learned about wrestling, I got hooked on that. A couple years down the road, I had a friend whose dad was actually a tape trader back when that was a thing.
Sure.
For them youngins that don't understand it, when
tape trading,
you used to have to send out to somebody who recorded some wrestling on their VHS, and you traded VHSs back and forth because that's how you got to see wrestling back in the day. And he had this one video, and all it said was Mexico. And then we popped that in, and I think it was the first match that showed up was one with Mil Mascaras.
Okay.
And like instantly hooked. And then the next one after that, if I remember correctly, it was a match with El Santo and Blue Demon.
Wow.
And then like it was just like all these old school luchador matches. And like I was hooked like instantly. And the whole idea now that I use to get in people's heads with the whole double mask was originally I got off of that video.
That was one of my questions. Okay. Yeah.
In the video, there was a match with Mil Mascaras where the guy went for the mask and he's ripping at the mask. And he tears the mask off and he thinks he's got him. And he turns around and he looks back down and he's got another mask on. And like I just thought that was like the coolest thing ever, and it stuck with me.
It always gets a pop. It always gets a pop.
Oh,
yeah,
always. So when I started wrestling, that one just kind of, it instantly came back to my head, and that was one of the first things I thought of. Is to play those mind games and stuff like that.
That's brilliant, man. Yeah, and you're one step ahead of me. I was going to ask that, but like I've always been a fan of the mask characters. Like I mentioned Ray earlier. Kane has always been one of my favorites. Obviously not a high flyer or anything like that, but something about that like, you put on the mask and just everything changes, kind of a thing, man. Do you feel that when you don the mask, like do you go into a different mode?
I mean, there's a lot more confidence to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like there's something about like putting on one of the masks that just kind of dons a little bit more confidence in me.
Yeah. Okay. So, good.
Definitely a little bit there.
You mentioned Legion of Doom. You mentioned Ultimate Warrior. You mentioned the lucha stuff. At Road Warrior Animal, former guest of the show. Great interview. R.I.P. Man, he was awesome. yeah, just a trailblazer, man. Not only for wrestling, but tag wrestling. You know, a lot to say about that, man. But obviously known, like you said, for the shoulder pads, the face paint, all that kind of stuff, man. So obviously you also mentioned watching the lucha stuff. Were you just like, obviously when I'm training, I'm going to wear a mask? Or were you like, did you work your way up to that? Or did you know like that was going to be your style and then the lucha tradition and all that?
As far as like doing like the high flying, we'll say,
yeah,
that kind of stuff, that just came from me as a younger kid. Like in my teen years, it was one of them things where it's like I wouldn't find a dare that I could turn down.
Are you
so
serious?
Like,
oh boy,
like growing up, there was always like, oh, I bet you won't snowboard down this hill covered in rocks or whatever. It's like, well, you show you. So I just would go for it, and then like just somehow it like ended up like, oh, I bet you can't do a backflip. And I'm practiced for like days on end trying to backflip onto a mattress on the ground and stuff like that until I could bang one out. And it's just kind of like that risk taker mentality, I guess. And I never got over it.
That's awesome.
I guess I never really outgrew my risk taker mentality, and it developed into my wrestling style, which is a bit more high risk in most cases than they probably should be for a fat kid from Maine.
No, man, you're killing it, man. You're staying healthy. That's the most important thing. Curious what the first flip or moonsault or move was like. Maybe it was outside of wrestling training because you said you would take every day. Or were you that kid who could just do a backflip on the blacktop? Or what was like the first thing where you just, you know, threw your body in the air and did a corkscrew or a flip, or maybe it was a moonsault off the top? What was the first one? You don't remember, do you?
No.
Wow. See, to me, that would be a big deal. Yeah.
I remember going back to like a lot of stuff. Like we used to have trampolines in our backyard and stuff like that, and jumping off like the shed onto the trampoline. And then me and my brothers would get a little brave, and we would take, because of course like I mentioned, I'm from Maine originally. So like a bit more of that redneck mentality out there sometimes. Okay. So we'd take pallets that we would have in the backyard, and we'd stack them up so they're nice and level with the trampoline. Then we jump off the pallets onto the trampoline, and then that got too boring. So then we would take tires and stack tires on top of each other and jump off of those until we realized that the tires were falling with us. So we were just about crippling each other.
Oh boy!
So we took the straps off my stepdad's tow truck, and we would strap down the tires. So now we got like this 10-foot tower of just pallets and tires, and we'd literally have to spring on the trampoline just to weasel our way onto the top of the tires, and then we would flip off of those onto the trampoline. So like a lot of it probably comes back from like just playing around on trampoline stuff, and like we would watch like I guess they were like kind of like tricking videos or something like that, or like almost like breakdancing videos to kind of like see some weird flips, like the J flip or something like that. And we go out on trampoline, we try that, and like the weird sideways corkscrew ones. And
that's wild. So
like a lot of my stuff nowadays probably comes from that. And then when I got to New York, I would go a lot to like these parkour gyms.
Oh, cool.
And they would have like open days or something like that or whatever. And then like we would go in there and just practice flips on those, because like the floors were a bit kind of like spring loaded. So you could kind of get a good twist off of those. And they had the foam pits, so you could practice your rotations to get there. And then I took all of that. And then when I came to House of Glory, I brought all that with me. So like I kind of had all that in my back pocket. And then it was just, you know, trial and error, like which flips could I pull off and which flips do I need to work on. And I always credit Mark Quinn too.
Oh, like, yeah.
Because if it wasn't for him being there at the same time as me, and then him learning that I can do a flip, and then he would do a bigger flip. You know, if he was doing a shooting star press off the top rope, then I would spend like the next week trying to learn how to do the shooting star press off the top rope. And, you know, I would do like a split leg moonsault just to upset him, because I knew he couldn't do split leg moonsaults. And like, I remember at one point, like we were doing a show for GCW. Okay. And it was like one of them like carnival shows. Like it was like a rock and derby, I think it was.
Okay, yeah.
And like Danny DeMonto comes out and he looks at us. He goes, why don't you guys go play horse or something in the ring? We're like, what? He goes, hey, go out in the ring and see who can out flip the other one.
Cool.
Like, yeah, let's do that. And then like now we're realizing as we're flipping, people are starting to pay attention. He's like, this is why he sent us out here, so we could do all these tricks and we'll lure the fans in. And like people just started coming in to see us literally just try and like outdo one another. And like, he would do, I would do a moonsault, land on my feet. He would do a moonsault, land on his feet. He would do a standing shooting star, land on his feet. I would do a standing shooting star and land on one knee. I get the H. And, I would do a split leg moonsault and he would deny it because he knew he can't do it. And then he got the H. So, we always like pushed each other like really bad. Like, and like, we just kind of grew together with that because like, we were always trying to one up each other, but in a friendly way. Like it was a friendly competition.
Dude, that's awesome. And no doubt, I'm all about the high flying stuff. No doubt, obviously, you've worked with a lot of the big names in the industry, man. Coming up, man. You mentioned Mark Quinn. A lot of these guys we're seeing in AEW now. Like, we have a lot of these indie guys over here. We always try to buy the 8x10s everyone we have on the show. So hopefully I'll get an 8x10 from you on Saturday. But anytime anyone gets signed or gets the contract, we put them over on this side. And, I look over, I see the Navarros, the Lady Frost, Tasha, Bowen, Stat, Layla, like so many names, man. And it's really cool because, we talk about Forbidden Doors and all that stuff all the time, but there's like really these opportunities, man, where you can almost work anyone you want, man. In certain companies, it's really cool for us as fans to see there is opportunity for y'all even during this pandemic, like, which to me is wild. I've never known so many people to succeed into a professional level other than wrestling. And I'm not saying it's easy, man, but like House of Glory, Malachi was just there. Buddy Murphy was just there, man. We have EC3 coming in on Saturday. Shameless promo. Get your tickets now. Who do you want to work that you haven't worked yet?
That's a loaded question because I know I always forget some people because like that list is so big.
Would it be like another high flyer, or do you like the contrasting styles, or is it whatever?
I love it all, man. Like I'm not the kind of guy that like I need one set style. Like I love it all. One guy I always shout out because I want to match with him in the worst way is Dean Allmark.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
Rings a bell.
He's based out of the UK.
Okay.
He's been at this probably 15, 20 years at this point. Like,
wow.
The man's been doing it a while, but like as far as technically goes, like he's so technically sound and like he's creative and like he comes up with like ridiculous things. And like we struck up, a friendship on social media because like one of my buddies runs the account Jim Breaks Armbar on Instagram. Okay. And he had posted a couple of Dino's moves and like transitions and stuff like that. So I had hit up Dino and I went, hey man, like I love your style and everything you're doing. I love what you're coming up with and all this other stuff. And he hits me back up with, hey man, it's great you're talking to me. You just hit me up because I was just telling my students about you the other day.
No kidding. That's wild.
And like he would tell his students about me and like what I was coming up with here in the States. And oddly enough, it's not like the first time that's happened too. Like Amazing Red went over to England at one point and he did a seminar. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say who it was, so I'll keep the name on the download. But one of the wrestlers that was at the seminar, who's a big deal now, went to him and he's like, hey, I love what you guys have been doing over there at like House of Glory, this, that, and the other. How's Smiley doing? Because I really love the shit he's coming up with. And it's like,
nice.
That's across the sea. Like, how do these people have any idea who I am? And it boggles my mind. So like Dino's definitely one that I'll always say I want. One of the dream matches, which after I say this, you'll probably catch on to some of the similarities in my style, but Delirious.
I love Delirious. That would be great.
Delirious has always been like a dream match of mine. And one of my tag team partners in Mike Grassa, it's his dream match too. So I'm fighting right now to try and get somebody to give us a tag match.
Oh,
Or
nice.
what could even be cooler is if somebody was able to get all three of them. So let's say it's Frightmare, Hallowicked, and Delirious versus me, Grasa, and Elijah Eden.
I like that. Someone book that.
That would be a real good time. And hell, I'm not even talking about a one-off. Like I'll wrestle those three anytime. Matter of fact, I wrestled Frightmare the night I met Trixie.
No kidding. Okay.
And I always joke around that it was fate because I wasn't supposed to be on the show. I was originally approached about the show and I turned it down because I was supposed to go to a high school reunion. I last minute decided not to do the high school reunion.
Smart.
Hit up the promoter. He said, "Hey, how convenient. One of the guys I was supposed to wrestle, he just got injured. So he had to back out. So that spot's yours if you want it."
Nice.
So it was kind of like that.
Fate.
The twist of fate there.
Yeah.
And that put us in line with each other. Now, 6-7 years later, we're still running strong and we got a little tyrant of our own running around the house. But I've wrestled Frightmare a couple times. He's super fun to work with. Hallowicked's probably one of my favorite people to wrestle. You want to talk about somebody with a base for days, there ain't nothing that man can't catch.
Oh man, that sounds amazing. A lot of promoters watch the show. Guys, someone book this. Please make this happen. I'd love to see all that stuff happen, man. You mentioned obviously Elijah, you mentioned Trixie. Put them over. Tell us a little bit about kind of your crew. I love working with you guys. We did a nice little backstage interview not too long ago, man. You surround yourself with like really good people and then they're great in the business. Tell us a little bit about your crew.
Absolutely. So there's a few of us come in different combinations. So there's me and Elijah. When we team up together, we team up as Project Mayhem. We'll be actually debuting in Magic finally as a tag team this week.
Nice.
So that would be nice. Bring home some gold in our first time at Magic. I'm not gonna say no to that one. Technically, me and Elijah are still number one contenders for the PPW tag team titles because we did win the gauntlet with PPW, but unfortunately, the day we were supposed to have our title shot, the show was running a little wonky schedule, and we showed up just barely, so we missed the chance to get on the show. We never had our title match, so technically, as of now, I'm owed.
You're on a couple number one contenderships here. Come on, let's go, guys. Come on.
Me and Elijah will team up. Trixie's been with me for years now. I believe she's been with me 7 years now. We debuted actually in Canada as a team.
Nice.
For Death Proof Fight Club, which always give Death Proof some love because those guys were great to us. Always took good care of us. We had so much fun with that company. I know now they're doing a lot of like the no ring death match stuff, which I'm not opposed to. I'll go to Canada and fight somebody in a field or something like that. Beat them up with some chairs. I don't care. Love those guys to death. They took good care of us out there. But yeah, we've been all over, me and her. Like, we've worked from Maine to Connecticut, New York, and we were obviously Canada. I said for a couple different companies up there. We did Lucha TO. Again, love those guys. No, I thought she did Lucha Demand. Lucha Demand is another one that we did up there.
There's a lot of wrestling. Yeah, there's so much wrestling. Yeah,
I love Canada. I want to go back. Yeah. Canada's so good.
Someone make it happen, man. That's
right.
Awesome. Dude,
Alpha One's one of the companies I've always wanted to break into.
Okay.
Ethan Page's company up in Canada. Yeah. I love that company. And like, I'm real close with Gregory Iron.
Yeah.
And, okay. He speaks very highly of it. I love Greg.
That's awesome, man. Well, the opportunities there, man. It's so cool to see you guys, travel and get all these opportunities, form new tag teams, get these number one contenderships, man. And right now you got the show named after you. I did want to ask this last one, man. I've seen you so many places in so many different forms or fashions over the years. I know heel Smiley more from Magic side of things, but I always see how great you are with the kids. This literal smiles you put on their faces and the pictures you take, man. That's my favorite thing about wrestling. The stickers that you have, man. I know a lot of people usually say they like being a heel better, man. Pulling back the curtain a little bit. What do you prefer for Smiley, face or heel?
I mean, I guess it depends, like, which personality wants to show up on those certain days. Because, like, I mean, I enjoy both. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. I mean,
it's good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun that Magic gets me so pissed off that I gotta, be the asshole. But at the same time, I love having my moments and spending my time with the kids. One of them, obviously, from Magic is Mikey. Again, always put Mikey over because I love that little boy to death. Some of my favorite memories is just running over and grabbing him by the wheelchair, looking at his mom, going, "I'm stealing your kid."
Yeah.
And then roll him in the ring, and then we just wrestle around during intermission. And it's great because it's not just like he loves it to death and he gets the biggest smiles and like the greatest memories and stuff like that. But even the people around us, like even the fans around us that like, who normally would be like sitting on their cell phones or something like that during intermission, like they're more entertained by what we're doing in the ring than checking the sports, scores or whatever.
Yeah.
And, and I've developed so many like connections with so many different people. There's Wyatt up in Connecticut, who I showed up to his birthday party.
Oh, did you really? That's amazing.
I did. Like his grandparents hit me up and they're like, "Hey, I know it's a long shot, but Wyatt's birthday's coming up. Would you mind coming up and like hanging out and going to his birthday?" I went, "Absolutely." They're like, "All right, cool. We got a refrigerator box for you." I'm like, "All right, cool."
Nice.
So they stuck me in a refrigerator box and like had him unwrap me, and
that's awesome.
I was there, and like we had a little wrestling match in like a bounce house, which of course I lost because I lose every time. But then like there's India and Monster out in Massachusetts. Years ago, India's been doing karate for years, and like I remember, God, it must have been like 7-8 years ago now, probably about 8 years ago now. She got into nationals, I think it was, and her dad was telling me, it's like, "Oh, we gotta pay for nationals, this, that, and the other thing," and like it's expensive, but we're gonna get it done. I went, "Oh, that's great to hear. Like she deserves that." So then during intermission, I told the promoter, I'm like, "Hey, can I do something tonight?" And I explained it to him, and he's like, "Yeah, of course." So I ran over and I grabbed India and I threw her in the ring, and then me and her like auctioned off a Smiley doll.
Oh,
like awesome. I think I only had like 8 of them. I think my aunt made like these. They were kind of like Raggedy Ann dolls.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we kind of like cleaned it up, like took all the clothes off of it, and like then I painted them, like hand painted each one of them.
Oh wow!
And we auctioned off one of the dolls, and it got up to like $200 or something like that.
Wow!
If I remember correctly, it was some crazy amount. And then like we handed, like literally, they bought it, handed me the money. I turned right back around. I handed it to her dad. I went, "Here, this is for nationals."
Aww.
Like moments like that, like and I'm still in contact with them today.
I'll never forget that, man. That's what it's all about.
I keep telling India she got to teach me some of the karate moves so I can stop losing so much.
Just stop. Hey, guys. And guys, if you're listening right now, come on. Smiley's here. Consistent show stealer. Let's see. We're owed a #1 contender tag team championship. We're owed that middleweight over at Titan. I'll get in some people's ear. I got you, bro. Magic. We're owed that. And come on, that #1 contendership for the heavyweight title over at Magic. So Smiley's got a lot to say here. Smiley, I appreciate you taking the time. More so, I appreciate you making time for the kids, man. That's what it's all about, man. You do a great job. But before we get out of here, we're all about the shameless promo here on the BCB. Tell everyone where they can follow on socials, get the merch, the 8x10s, all that good stuff.
Social medias, Instagram and Twitter are the same. It's at Smiley_lucha. Facebook, it's Ernest Price, which is my therapist's name over at the asylum.
Nice.
It's under his name because apparently Facebook won't accept Smiley as my name, so I got put under his name. I do have a pro wrestling tease. Just guys search Smiley. I'm the guy with the big yellow mask. It's pretty hard to miss.
Yeah.
I also have another one. It's a storefront tier, and it's under Smiley's Asylum. There's some shirts over there. Those ones are nice because they also got like baby onesies, and you can get sweatshirts, and there's a bunch of variety on that one. Though I got to update that store.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anybody looking for, bring in a nut job luchador? I'm always available. I do singles. I do tag teams. I got, like I said, Elijah Eden, which is Project Mayhem. I got Mike Grassa. We team up as Fit to be Tied. Trixie's always a text away too. She's always down for a good show. We could do trios with me, Grassa, and Elijah. So we got options. We can fit anything you want on your card. I can do the high flying flippy stuff, or I can get down and dirty and brawl with the best of them. So
it's true. Smiley, very well said, dude. I look so forward to seeing you on Saturday. Again, guys, shameless promo. Pro Wrestling Magic presents Smiley's Wild Ride, February 26th. February, that's right. 26th, this Saturday at Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Tickets are still available. Smiley, dude, thank you so much for taking the time. Continue success moving forward. Stay safe out there, my man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure,
bro. I'll see you Saturday. And like we always say here on the BCP, everyone stay safe, stay positive. Take care of each other. We out. Peace.